I'm Stuart with MasterCraft Garage Doors, and today I want to talk about garage door insulation. So, first, let's start off with getting out of the way. The choice between an insulated door and a non insulated door in some cases is going to be moot because many of the nicer higher end doors that have specialty styles on the outside are only manufactured on an insulated or insulated steel back door. So, when we're discussing this particular subject, we're talking in terms of just your heat transfer, values, if you will, and the use case in terms of the interior space of the garage being cooler or hotter. Now, we're located in Arizona, so this information is going to kind of be based around keeping the door or the garage cooler than it is going to be, keeping it warm or, a conversation you may have somewhere, say, back east or up north. So just to be clear on the angle that we're looking at this particular subject through. Let's first talk about things to consider when you're looking at whether you should get an insulated door or what level of insulated door you should get. First thing to consider is, what are you doing in that garage? Are you just simply parking a car and that's it? Or do you run a fridge in your garage? Do you have a workshop in your garage and spend a lot of time in it? Those are going to be the first things that you want to look at when you start going down the path of deciding if and what type of insulated door you are going to want to get. The next important thing, especially here in Arizona, is going to be the positioning of your garage. So, does your garage get direct sunlight? If it does, during what times of the day? So, the positioning of the door itself, which way it faces, is very, very important when looking at this decision and wanting to meet your goals at the best value. So let's talk about why that matters, and then we'll go into looking at the types of insulation and build designs of the insulated doors. So if you are in a position where, say, you are pointing west and you are getting direct afternoon sunlight in a Arizona summer where it's 115 degrees and that door is just getting pounded by the sun all day long, I'm sure you have walked out to that door and you get within about 10 feet of it and it feels like you're walking up to a heater. You can feel it radiating off the door. That door is heating up just like your car does outside. You touch it and it almost burns your hand. It's heating up hotter than the ambient temperature and basically turning into a heating element that then radiates into your garage, and on average is going to make your garage 10 to 15 degrees hotter during those summer months or when the sun is shining on it. If you are in that kind of position, and whether you're have a workshop or you don't, having at least a minimum insulated door is going to make a world of difference. Just something to just isolate that heat a little bit so it's not radiating inside. So if you're facing north and you're not getting any direct sunlight whatsoever, your garage generally is going to be as hot as the ambient temperature. So if you're pointing north, you're not getting any direct sunlight, you're going to be right at basically ambient temperature in the garage. And just to recap, if you're getting direct sunlight in the afternoon or during the day, you could be up to 15 degrees hotter in the garage over the ambient temperature. So positioning is very, very important when you're looking at insulating your door. Now, let's talk about the insulating materials. And we're obviously going to just leave non-insulated doors out of it. So there's two materials that are used primarily, and that is polystyrene and polyurethane. Polystyrene is a foam paneling. You can buy the material at Home Depot. It's very, very similar to what most manufacturers will use on insulated doors that they build with that polystyrene. It has a vinyl backing on it. It's also available on doors that have steel backing on it. And we'll touch base a little bit more in just a moment on the build styles of the doors. The next type of insulation is going to be polyurethane. That is a hot injected molded material. So it goes in a more of a fluid kind of state. It gets into every nook and cranny. It cools down and it hardens. That is going to have a much higher rating than polystyrene. Polyurethane is better. Polystyrene is basically entry level. Polystyrene is going to have an R rating from anywhere between 4 to 10, and that depends on whether it's just standard vinyl back or whether or not it has a steel back. Polyurethane is going to have a 14 to 19 R rating, so it gets up there pretty high. And the only thing that's going to really vary that is how thick the door is. So let's talk about the build styles of doors. They're generally referred to as 1 layer, 2 layer, or 3 layer. 1 layer would be non-insulated. 2 layer would be insulated with a polystyrene and just a vinyl backing, so they don't count the backing as a layer. And then you have 3 layer, which is going to be a door that is insulated with steel back on it. So the face of the door is the first layer, the insulation is the second layer, and if it has steel on the back, that would be the third layer. That third layer of steel does have an effect on isolating the heat when it's sandwiched around insulation. So if you have a polystyrene 2-layer door compared to a polystyrene 3-layer door, it's the same exact insulation panel inside, but there is an increase in the R rating for the insulated value of those 2 doors. Now, a 3-layer door is going to be available in polystyrene or polyurethane. This is going to be important when you're looking at some of your higher end doors. You're looking for a particular look, but maybe you don't want to pay for the highest end insulation, because higher end doors are generally going to be put or built in the platform of a 3-layer door. You can choose to go with a lower end insulation panel as opposed to the injected molded polyurethane. So let's talk about the use cases of these different doors and products. If you're getting no direct sunlight ever, you don't have a fridge or any kind of equipment, you just purely park in it, then a non-insulated door probably just makes the most sense. If you have rooms above the door in the same scenario, having an insulated door will help isolate some of the ambient temperature so that it doesn't radiate up into the bedrooms upstairs, and will have a little bit of an impact. If you are getting direct sunlight on your door during hot times of the day, a higher insulated door is going to make a much bigger difference. The impact of that difference is going to depend on then, do you have rooms above the garage, and what is it that you're doing in the garage? So if you have a fridge in there, a 10-degree difference over 10 years of it running is going to make a difference on how long that fridge lasts. If you're parking in your garage, having a higher insulated door is going to mean when you get in it and leave, it's going to cool down very, very quickly with that AC running, as opposed to having a non-insulated door and it's 10 degrees hotter, so it's 130 degrees in the garage and your car's heated up and it takes longer for that to cool down. If you have a workshop in your garage and you are going to put a mini split in, or it is an AC'd space, then going with the maximum R-rated garage door, a polyurethane 3-layer door, is going to be the way to go, because that door is going to excel at not only isolating the heat from the outside, but also keeping the cool air inside, and is going to give you the best performance in terms of keeping that space cool. I hope that was helpful. If you have any questions, put them down in the comment section. We are located in Arizona in the Phoenix metro area. If you are local here and need help, give us a call. We offer free on-site consultations, so we'll come out, go over the different options, take the sizes, but most importantly, we're going to have an in-depth conversation about your particular situation in the context of the project and find the best fit for you.